All right, so just the basic, the very fundamental question from Daniela: How do you co-create citizen observatories? How does it actually work? So the first question for you, Alan.
Well, a community will need to decide what it wishes to monitor and engage with people that have expertise in citizen observatories to advise them how to set up a citizen observatory. I hesitate to use the word experts because the whole purpose of co-creation is that a citizen observatory should ideally be citizen-led. The best way in which citizens can set up a citizen observatory of their own is to get in contact with people that have already set up a citizen observatory, and I've given you some contacts to follow on my presentation.
Excellent. All right, and then we have a second question here. How do you approach the veracity and accuracy of the information generated by the volunteers? So you mentioned already that there's some training has to happen, but how about otherwise? How do you do the quality control? Thank you.
This is a very important question, and it's fortunately one of those questions that has been considered a lot in previous citizen science projects. Two key or three key lessons are, first of all, to have preliminary training for citizens involved. Secondly, to have interactive software on smartphones that will give feedback to citizens when they're entering information about the validity of their data and information. And thirdly, to have some kind of automatic quality control functionality in the Citizen Observatory website itself.
Thank you, Alan. That must be something that it takes years to develop this kind of tools, but it's great to know that it already exists in your approach. We have now a third question from the floor. Could you give us an example of citizen observatories used to monitor forest degradation, or related observatories if known specifically for forests?
Well, I'm afraid that citizen observatories are literally so new that there isn't an example of that to give.
Okay, that's very clear and understandable. So I know you've been working some years on this, and of course they're focusing on different topics. So let's go for the question number 4. How to assure that the results can be added to larger monitoring systems, mainly meaning making different monitoring compatible, let's say monitoring for the Sustainable Development Goals and so forth. The question number 4.
This is a very interesting question because if a certain country has a forest and landscape restoration program at a national scale, this will naturally consist of efforts at local level in communities spread across the country. So the best way in which the data and information collected at local scale could be aggregated with that from other localities is to have an integrated design from the beginning at the national scale. So this would need to be, so the citizen observatories would need to be integrated into the program, into the design of the whole program.
Yes, that's understandable from this, and you recommend do this from the start onwards. Of course, it would be easier that way. And then we have very varied thematics here. So, and the fifth question is: should the observatories need to be public or should they be privately managed? In your experience, which type of method or mode of organization works best?
I don't quite understand the question. Citizen observatories are managed by communities. And so inevitably the community is open to anyone who wishes to participate in it.
Right. All right. So actually, it's managed by the civil society, let's say, in the at the community level. That's
Oh,
yeah.
very much so. And it's important to recognize that citizen observatories are, by definition, a liberation of civil society, an empowerment of civil society. Civil society will necessarily have to cooperate with scientists, but citizen observatories are fundamentally dedicated to helping citizens participate in environmental management by themselves.
That's very, very interesting and inspiring also. At this point, we need to close this question and answers and move to the next presentation.